favorite gag. Poochie died on the way to his home planet.
I like to think of it as Godzilla is now an Oscar winner.
Yeah.
And so when he found out he was going to be a new movie, he's like, you know what? I just stretched my legs a bit. I'm going to chill here. And Kong, I'm going to let you just like, you can do some of the work. I'm going to boost you up a little bit, but I'm not really going to do much. I'm just going to sell my name on the board.
Yeah, it's like in the credits, it will say "and Godzilla" at the end. You know, gets the "and."
Yeah, he's a, he was like, I could do like 2 or 3 days on set. Let's shoot all my scenes all at once. It was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, real ego on Godzilla in this
movie.
He's a fucking diva.
Yeah, he won an Oscar. He kind of deserves it, He deserves it.
I mean, it's kind of like the Dwayne Johnson, Vin Diesel thing of like neither of them can really lose the fight entirely.
Yeah,
they got to have like little victories at different points.
Yeah. And today we're talking Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which was like the weirdest title ever. But I got a cool panel with me. Subbing in for Diego for this episode is a friend of the show, Jack Godwin. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing good. I'm filling in for Diego, who I have buried underground somewhere. But it's just me for now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good to have you. You've been on multiple episodes, like more than I could list now. So it's like it's always good to have you on the show.
Always great to be here and great to muscle in and eventually become the sole owner of Waffle Press. That's the plan.
Oh,
the
no.
10-year plan.
Don't do that because I don't want like a hostile buyout. But yeah, you do a good podcast on that 90s Spider-Man show, which I always enjoy listening.
Thank you. Yeah, we're on a mini hiatus at the moment, but we're still planning on putting out some new episodes, and there's plenty to talk about this year with the stuff in our orbit with that cartoon and Spider-Man comics and all the Sonyverse stuff that is still happening.
yeah. Or you guys could do X-Men 97 too.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I've been watching the original X-Men animated series just because I was already partway through watching it, and then I was like, I'll catch up. I'll watch the whole thing before I go into X-Men 97. And then too many things came out at once. So now I'm behind, and I'm still I'm on like season 4. And I've got like 2 seasons left to watch before I can watch any X-Men 97. But I'm really excited about watching that. And then I'm sure we will talk about it on our podcast at some point.
Yeah, definitely. We will. Or you will, excuse me. And also on this episode is our other co-host, Max Deering. How you doing, Max?
I'm good. I've got a Indian IPA, and I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I saw that. Show the camera what you're drinking if anyone's watching this on YouTube. Cheers. Cheers.
That's the glass. This is the bottle. So
there you go.
Brand IPA. Yeah.
See, we are recording this in the morning, but you're 9 hours ahead in Europe. Yeah.
Off camera.
So 8 o'clock.
Off camera, there are 20 other empty bottles.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't hear my cat, do you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's
I can hear her on the other side of the door. She's like, "Come upstairs.
Yeah.
Come upstairs. Stop doing what you're doing. I'm lonely."
I know. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, good to see you again, Max. Good to hang out with you, especially to talk Godzilla, which we all enjoy. But yeah, before we talk Godzilla, Kong, and other stuff. What are we watching? Any brief like things anyone wants to talk about, Max? Are you watching?
Yeah. So yesterday, Seuss and I we saw Abigail. I was lucky to keep Seuss completely under wraps, and she had no idea, and she enjoyed it. I think she was a bit miffed that it wasn't fully and then there were none riff. but she was still surprised that like, oh, it's about a vampire. She knew it was a horror movie. She knew it was by Radio Silence in the cast. But yeah, it was fun. Outside of that, I'm still working on all the Planet 8 films. I'm
nice.
just finished Tim Burton's film the other day, like 2 days ago.
Oh yeah.
I hadn't seen that since theaters, and
Ape
probably should
Lincoln.
have stayed that way.
Yeah. Ape Lincoln.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that was not good.
I appreciate it in certain aspects of like the special effects and all the makeup, but I don't think not a good movie.
Yeah, all the ape actors are breaking their back, like trying to carry that film, and it's just like, it's rough. But I mean, that's the only so far the outright bad one out of the rest. Because like I've seen the reboot trilogy back when they came out in theaters,
they're amazing.
but I'm gonna watch those anyway. But like I said, I hadn't seen Tim Burton since theaters, and I was just like, oh, this is boring. Like I'm bored.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like there's so much going for that movie. You're like, oh, Tim Burton, Planet of the Apes, Paul Giamatti as an ape. You know,
Rick Baker doing the effects.
Rick Baker,
Charlton Heston's in it, right?
Yeah, that's right. And he shows up to say his one line. Damn them all to hell. Like, oh god, really?
Yeah, it's crazy to think they brought him back because he was like pretty old, and then also probably not a good person too.
I have no idea.
Probably not.
Probably not. That's all I'll say about that. He was the head of an organization that shall not be named.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked up and I saw he was part of like environmental protection, like trying to advocate for that. But
he did something else in his later years that
Okay, now I gotta look. You can't just put that out there.
Okay. It's like he was he was the head of the NRA, which is like
Oh, that I saw.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess credit to Tim Roth, who had to.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, he was like, I did not like Charlton Heston, but I still had to do a scene with him. So for being a professional, I guess, you know.
Oh yeah.
Good scene though. Good scene.
Yeah.
Bad person. But anyway.
But beyond that, the Planet of the Apes films, Planet of the April, as I've been calling it, and then
nice.
What else? Last week we got Love Lies Bleeding, so we went and saw that, and the first Omen. Oh, and I also saw Omen 3 this past week too. Bunch of movies. It's been a good ride.
Yeah, no, that sounds really cool. That sounds really dope. Yeah, I'll have to watch a movie from the Planet of the Apes universe because I love them all, except the Tim Burton one. But Jack, what are you watching? Tell us.
Well, I know now this is a good reminder that I need to get back to my rewatch of the Planet of the Apes films, which I started with my partner last year, and then I think we got up to, we finished the original like runner sequels. We got up to Tim Burton's, and then for some reason I stopped.
Yeah.
But I would like to. I mean, I don't know. I might just skip that and then just go straight to Rise and watch those ones. But no, I'm a huge fan of those as well, so I'll be watching those. But lately I've been catching up on Invincible, which I'm still enjoying. Still good. And I feel like I've had a good run of cinema visits lately, like Civil War I really liked. Monkey Man was incredible. I also caught Monster, which I loved as well. So yeah, no, it's just quite a few good things out. I really want to see Love Lies Bleeding as well, but I missed I think the original run of it. Because I went for a trip. I'm in Canada right now. I went back to England where Love Lies Bleeding isn't out. And then when I got back, it wasn't showing in Canada anymore.
Oh, really?
So I perfectly timed it to miss that movie. But I think it's coming back for in a couple of screenings a bit later. So I'm gonna catch that too.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's a good one. I feel like we probably talked about it on a previous episode, but that is a good movie. Another great Kristen Stewart joint, which I enjoyed. Yeah, that ending too just goes for goes for the fences, you know, without spoiling it.
Yeah, no spoil. I mean, you can't really spoil it, but yeah, I get where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, good movie choices. For me, really briefly, I guess before we go into the main monster discussion, obviously watching X-Men '97, really enjoying that. It's been pretty cool. I don't want to spoil anything for that, but it's making the series like more adult without losing like the heart of the show, which is like, because it is like a Saturday morning cartoon, so like it kind of universal. But like if you watch, and Jack, you've been rewatching the themes, or excuse me, the original series, the themes of that show are like really, I wouldn't say adult, but they're like mature in like how they treat their,
Definitely.
yeah,
Hmm.
how they treat their audience, like because they know they're kids, but they're like, kids could also like understand like what prejudice is, or you know uh prejudice, or just kind of like stuff with like the characters that are going through, like Wolverine is like, he's agonizing over Jean Grey because he can't like Scott's with her, and that's really like adult stuff that is really cool. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
watched. It was just the other day. I watched one where like Cyclops, like after the Phoenix saga, like Cyclops kind of goes off on his own for an episode, and it's like he's on the bus, and then there's a like a kid playing with a gun, and 'cause he's playing like Zap the Mutant or something
Mhm.
like that, and then
Yeah.
the mum kind of comes in and is like, you know, um, don't do that in public. You could be a perfectly nice man, and you're calling him a mutant,
Hmm.
and it's just like, and it's like a flashback to like him and Jean talking about how like Cyclops doesn't want to have kids because they'd be a mutant
Yeah.
and they'd have to face this one. I'm like, holy, this is a kid show. Like, this is like really heavy themes. But if
Yeah.
you're a kid, right, you can just not really take that in as much, maybe, and pay attention more to the humor or the action if you're really young.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to do it, and I'm
Mhm.
glad it sounds like '97 is doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. So yeah, I'm gonna keep watching. I'm a little behind, but yeah, other than that, been watching a lot of movies. I saw The Raid and The Raid 2 at the New Bev, which was
Yeah,
incredible.
Oh,
It was
oh
awesome.
man, I'm
Yeah.
jealous. I'm
I
upset.
I've also done that double bill a long time ago, and it is exhausting in the
I
best
was
way.
I was fucking tired. Like I got out of the theater at like 12:30, and I was like talking to my friend, and I was like, and then I still had to drive home, and it's roughly like 5-6 miles, and it's
Mm.
maybe like 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh no. So I was just driving, like with all the windows open and listening to loud music, because I was like, I'm gonna be very safe right now,
Mm.
because yeah, I still have to get home. But it was worth it. I was safe, I was cool. But yeah, I was moved out. I was like, I can't watch another movie for at least a day after the Raid 2. But yeah, yeah.
I
um
mean, I guess you're kind of like Rama at the end of either of those movies, where you
oh yeah,
just like,
you
just
just
like completely like almost not alive anymore.
yeah.
Every time somebody shares like new bevs like monthly
Oh
like
god.
schedule,
Yeah.
every time I see it, I just tell myself I would probably just live in New Bev. Like this,
Mhm.
Yeah,
that's impossible. Like
it
Jesus Christ.
it's really good. It's like, yeah, if anyone doesn't know, any listeners of the show, the New Beverly Cinema is a movie theater that's owned by Quentin Tarantino, and it's in more or less Hollywood, and he programs it with the rest of his staff, and they have like a lot of good films. They have like The Raid. They do a
Mm.
lot of like revivals. A lot of movies he's worked on. Sorry if you could hear that in the background, but yeah, it's a great theater. So if anyone visits Los Angeles, definitely one of the first places you should go. Yeah. But yeah,
Is that an ice cream truck
no, that's
outside?
a I live next to a church, and
Oh,
so it's like church bells, which yeah,
oh, that's
which
nice.
I'm gonna bring it to the conversation, because it's like New Beverly is like a church or like a temple of movies. So there you go. There you go.
There you
But yeah, besides that, yeah, like Civil War, I really enjoyed. Alex
go.
Garland, great director. Only critique I could have on that movie, I do see his reasoning, but you could tell it's written by someone that doesn't live in the United States, because it's like very well run, all the stuff. But California and Texas and Florida would never be in an alliance together. It's unfortunate, but yeah, that's the only critique. I do see his reasoning, but I'm like, still, but that's just nitpicky stuff. Great film.
I think with that kind of stuff now, I wondered how much of it is like giving you something purposefully like a little bit perplexing. Because like what was it when because my wife is Canadian and we watched it together, and then the only thing she wanted to talk about after the film was the fact that there's a point where someone doesn't accept cash, but they will accept Canadian dollars because it's like worth so much more. And she was fascinated by that. She was like, why would that happen? Like, what happened to lead to that? And I'm like, I think that's, at least in that case, I think that they dropped that in, like, to make you think, wait, how did this come to be? Like, you got missing information,
Yeah, I just assumed it was just because of the Civil War, that the currency of like the US, because now there's like multiple currencies in the country, just kind of went down, I guess. I would just, yeah, but yeah, it's kind of like one of those like used future sort of things where things just exist and they don't really like explain it, kind of like Star Wars or something.
Yeah, or like the shells in Demolition Man.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the world. Yeah. But yeah, definitely check that out. But yeah, good recommendations from everyone here. You guys are great cinephiles and enjoy all your tastes. That's why I have you guys on this episode, because you're so awesome. But segueing into our kind of main discussion, kind of talking, we are talking Godzilla X Kong, but the thing for that movie, it is a cinematic universe entry. Specifically, it's the Monsterverse. And the Monsterverse, surprisingly, it has outlasted all the other startup cinematic universes that started around that time. The Dark Universe, the DCEU, which had to like reboot, I don't know, and a few other ones, but we still have the Monsterverse, and it's been around for now 10 years. So like, what do you think like happened that drove this franchise to like actual like success? Because it's like everything else was just garbage. Like, because it's like, it's pretty cool. I mean, like, that these movies, like, yeah, they are in a cinematic universe, but it feels like at least whoever's in charge was has to like come up with a thing, because they do shows, but it's like these things should exist on their own, should exist as just like good movies, which is why people watch or they did watch Marvel or whatever. So yeah,
I think you touched on it there, with the idea of them working on their own. There isn't like a pressure to connect different things, really, because like they, those, at least for those first 3 films or 4 films, there's like they all work individually, and it's all like you can see that they were ready to jump ship at the end of each one. Like, if this one tanks, then we still told the story that we were gonna tell, really. And now it's getting to, I mean, potentially an interesting point where it feels like a bit more uncertain about where they're going, because they very much just wanted to get Godzilla and Kong together, and then they did that. And but I think like part of what made it successful is the simplicity of it, and which I guess can kind of work internationally, and then also it's just I think it took people a while, and you saw it with like the 1998 Godzilla.
Oh yeah,
Like
Matthew Broderick.
There's not like I think we've now entered this era of just like understanding, like, yeah, people want to see giant monsters fight, and like whatever you do around that, you can do it well, you can do it badly, you can have bad human story, good human story, all this kind of stuff. But at the core of it, like people do want to see that and they don't think it's silly. You don't need to make a movie that is sort of like ultra serious and making fun of that kind of thing. Like people do want to see like Godzilla suplex Kong,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like people want to see it. Yeah, like that's like why they come to see it. Like don't need to explain like how these could exist. Like yeah, obviously do that, but it's like it's also just cool to see like Kong punch Godzilla like in the face,
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think part of it also, I mean, it is because of Godzilla versus Kong back in 2021.
Mhm.
It's the reason why we even have this entry, because we talked about it a few weeks ago with on A4E. But I mean, King of the Monsters didn't do well in 2019. The people who didn't, it was undeserved. It deserved better.
Yeah.
But it didn't do well. And so, but at bare minimum, they had Godzilla versus Kong in the bag at that point. And so I think the conventional wisdom at the time was they were just going to put that out and then they would be done. Monsterverse would be more or less over. But then it did so well that they now made this one, and then this one is doing well. And so I think it's a bit of stroke of luck that it's still going on. But I mean, it's also not oversaturating the market. Like, no offense to Marvel, DC, or any of the other cinematic universes that have come in, failed to keep up on screen. But the other thing as well is we get an entry maybe every other couple of years. And that's it. They're not trying to pack us every year. New Monsterverse film. They only just started a TV show, and it's not homework. It's supplementary. It's, hey, if you want to watch it, cool. You've got a bit more understanding, but there's no, you have to watch Legacy of Monsters to understand GXK. They're almost standalone entries.
I really appreciate that too, because it's like I like Marvel, but like for the last couple like MCU stuff, it feels like like all the tie-ins, like they're not like fun tie-ins, like they're not like the comics where they're like, oh yeah, just read this issue to know what's going on. It's like for MCU, it's like you have to like watch Echo season 1 to like watch Daredevil Born Again, or like so like that's not fun. It shouldn't be homework.
Yeah, this is a really good point. Because I think that there isn't this level of exhaustion. Like I felt like this movie, for instance, came around at the right time of me thinking sort of like, oh, what's going on in the Monsterverse? Oh, okay, this, and I know like when Endgame came out and then they were immediately jumping into more stuff after that, I was like, how great would it have been if there was a break then? Like, I know that's not really how money works with
I
these
would have
things.
said, what if there was a break? What if they just stopped? Like, that's it, we're done.
Right.
We're gonna go fucking do something else.
yeah. And then they just did like sort of like Elseworld stories after that, or something like the Batman kind of vibe. Even like there's a lot of different ways to do things, and I think like the space does really help because like I said, oversaturated.
I also think part of the success with this GXK is also -1. We're coming right off the heels of that, and it's spent far longer in theaters than anybody expected. I don't even think Toho expected it, and we're pretty much coming hot off the heels of that. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's crossover. People like, wow, that was really good. And this isn't to say GXK isn't really good, but like they're probably like, this made me a fan. I want to see more. And it gives you that dichotomy of the ultra super serious Godzilla movie and then this very fun Showa-esque entry. So I think that is also it helps that in the span of the last 6 months, Godzilla has basically been omnipresent in our cultural sphere.
It's really cool because -1, amazing movie, amazing, and it's serious, but like it's good to have like variety, that you could have like a serious Godzilla movie and then like a fun, like like you said, Max, a Showa era film, because it's like I guess with like Marvel, like there's not like much dichotomy or variety. It's all kind of sameness, which is like sad, but like kind of is what it is.
This is like really like kind of opposite the spectrum to -1 as well, which I think
Yeah.
helps. Like maybe if they were more in the same sort of tone, then it would have felt like a bit too much too soon. But they're just like so different.
But even the MonsterVerse is also extremely varied in their tones.
Yeah.
The first Godzilla film is fairly dark and serious. Not maybe as dark and serious as -1, but like it's dark enough on its own. And
Yeah.
then King Kong and then Kong Skull Island is like a very fun, adventure-esque hope romp through the jungle. And then I feel like King of the Monsters does a bit of both. It's still having a bit of fun with the amount of monsters it has, but it is being serious. Maybe not too serious, but serious enough. And then these last two films by Adam Wingard,
Yeah.
they definitely lean the route of more Showa and silly, and that's not bad at all. But you can look at the MonsterVerse film wise as a whole and see a very you can see varied entries, and so you always feel like you're getting a film from someone distinct in each entry, which I think also helps with its longevity, because it just you're getting different things from different filmmakers. I can tell the voices behind each film.
Yeah, yeah, it's like it's good to see like different directors too, like interpret the characters. Do you feel like, because it's like kind of going from like the Gareth Edwards film, which I like rewatched, and there is like like a thread, but like that movie feels like way different than Godzilla Kong, which is like the Godzilla 2014. Like it's very serious and somber, and it's still a good movie, but it's just a little like the way they use Godzilla is less um like it's more serious, but like I think I guess like a critique is like Godzilla and like other monsters, I feel like they have more scale to them, which
Yep.
I felt like I do love, and we'll talk about it, Godzilla Kong, but like I feel like some stuff did get lost, like scale or just kind of like how these monsters like affect people, like yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel some of that has been lost. But again, I think that kind of fits with each entry's feeling a bit different.
Mhm.
I do miss that scale. I do miss, and I still think something like King of the Monsters definitely had the best of both worlds. Um, so for me, that'll always probably be my North Star in terms of these movies.
Yeah.
But I do think it's been lost, but I also don't mind it because I mean, even the Godzilla films from Toho from the 50s up until they stopped in 2004 with Final Wars, they all varied in tone. They were all wildly different. They had the Showa era, which was very kid friendly, very funny. Godzilla's chasing somebody down on his tail. He's dapping up jet jaguars. They beat the shit out of Megaguirus, not Megaguirus,
Yeah.
Megalon.
Megalon.
And then the Heisei era is usually serious, but also they still have fun, like zany elements, but still somewhat serious. And then the Millennium kind of is up and down. They were very kind of schizophrenic, I think, a bit with how they portrayed Godzilla. So no, I think it's fine, but I understand the sentiment, and it does bug me a bit, but also I'm fine with it because you know what, it's we're getting different things, and at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if we weren't getting different things, then we would be complaining about it. And I mean, people will still complain, but
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as long as they're still good movies and like people enjoy it, it's like I'm willing to like forgive like stuff like, oh, like the scale of these monsters feel a little like different, because I would hate I'd hate like, as long as it's good and it's well written, or it's well crafted, I appreciate that. I don't want to be like some cinema sins whatever dinging points off the movie, being like, this wasn't like this in the original. I'm like, it's movies, it's not real, they're not real.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's like people like people ask like, how could Batman like how could he like go in the middle of the night and like fight criminals? It's like, because it's not real, dude.
Well, also,
it's called adjust your sleep schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't am I right in thinking that there's a lot of like original stuff in this movie that isn't based on older films?
Yeah, that's correct. Like there are, all the monsters are original legendary monsterverse creations.
Right.
Yeah.
And it does, I mean, I also think that helps in like this this almost feels a bit like a not like a side adventure, but it doesn't feel like it's stepping on anything either.
Yeah.
So I mean, I also I wouldn't necessarily be too bothered about things people getting things like right, especially when it's like, you know, there are so many versions
Hmm.
of the same thing that that getting another one that isn't exactly what you want is fine. Especially, yeah, again, another great Godzilla movie this year.
Yeah.
So I'm totally down with this doing different things, and I mean, it did feel it is very like, I mean, inconsequential is kind of a pro and a negative for it in that I don't think it's like I think the way the cinematic universe is made, it means that like you can like not like an entry or
Hmm.
something and then kind of move past it, and it's just like, oh, I don't like that entry. It hasn't like got this run-on effect on everything else like
Yeah.
might happen in like the MCU or the DCU or something.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Kind of going off of that, before we go into like the main like spoiler filled discussion, we were talking about like original monsters, but you
Mhm.
know, for legendary, they have, because like, you know, the way the licensing works, they have to license these like creatures from Toho. So and you know, Adam Wingard was kind of talking about like he loves Destroya, so you know, like he's probably going to do the next movie. And you know, are there any monsters that you would want to see legendary use or license? Because we can't just kind of use, you know, yeah, the same monsters that they had in their thing. Any monsters you want to see from those original Godzilla movies that pop up in here? Anyone want to go first?
I was gonna let Jack go first because I do have mine, but I figure I can
Okay.
talk it a bit.
I don't I feel like I am I kind of want to see them get weird with it.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
I kind of I kind of like, but I don't know if it's the right idea or not. I kind of want to see like Jet
Yeah.
Jaguar or
Okay.
something, you know, like
Well, yeah. Yeah, they have Mecha
um
Godzilla, you know?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Mecha Godzilla was a big one I wanted to see, really. So I was very satisfied with. I mean, I think actually I was really surprised with how much I liked Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really, I really enjoyed it. It really like, and I felt like, you know, the intro bringing in Mechagodzilla felt like the exactly the kind of thing I wanted in terms of like introducing a extra thing that is just like, you know, what I want as a nerd.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and I think now it's like I kind of want that kind of stuff because I mean, obviously I like want a like a good exciting story and something, and then like I think at this point, like looking forward, either get weird with it or like pick a monster that can be kind of like thematic. Like they did do stuff about climate change, like
Yeah.
in King of the Monsters,
Uh-huh.
and I
Yep.
feel like it's been kind of that's also just kind of dropped now.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could always do what was it the smog monster was
Hedora.
it
Fedora.
yeah,
Hedora, yeah.
right, which I love that movie. And I
It's
think like
good.
that
It's good.
that might be like you could do something with that, you know, like and
Yeah.
still like make it like relevant to today in a
Yeah.
different way. But yeah, other than that, like I'm just kind of like ready for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Something different.
For me, if he
Mhm.
wants to go the route of Destroy, I'm all for it, and that
Yeah.
definitely seems to be the route he's pushing for. I know that they behind the scenes they say that the legendary monsters are expensive, um, and that's why one of the monsters that appears in this wasn't actually supposed to be that monster. Apparently, it was supposed to be a different one. Um,
Oh,
I would be
yeah.
yeah. I
For
figured we say
Mothra.
that when we get to spoilers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I would love Destroya, and I know that if they do that, they're 100% killing him. Like I would be shocked if they didn't kill him on screen.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I would have if I was a betting man back in like 2019 after I got out King of the Monsters, I would have for sure told you they were going to shoot for Mecha King Ghidorah for
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Kong
Right.
because it made
Yeah.
sense. I was like, yeah, fucking do it. And Mecha Godzilla works just as well.
Mhm.
So but like I really would have thought of Mecha King Ghidorah. For me, I feel like at this rate they have to go back. They have to do space. So I'm willing to hedge my bets. If not Destroya, it's either Gigan or Space Godzilla.
Space Godzilla. Yeah, I love
But I
him.
would really like Biollante. That's a
Oh, that's a good choice. That's a
if
good
I
choice.
yeah, if I can't, the thing is with the Toho monsters, it's a wealth of riches. There's so many to choose from. I would love Destroyer because I think that is it. I mean, it's literally Godzilla versus Satan.
Yeah, yeah, a demon.
That would be a great title.
Yeah,
I shit you not. If Toho knocked on my door right now and they said, "Here's $100 billion, make your Godzilla movie," I'm like, "All right, I'm taking him to hell. He's going straight to hell. We're doing it."
Wasn't
it's
there
a comic? Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
There's
say
a
there was a
comic.
comic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sending him straight to hell. But yeah, yeah, dealer's choice with that one. I'm willing because Wingard says he's interested in Destroya. I'm willing to believe he's probably going to do his best to push for that. So for me, I'd say Biollante or Space Godzilla. A Biollante would really, you could do a lot of things with thematic underpinnings with that, and then Space Godzilla is just fucking cool. Like this, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But hey, maybe the next entry is also super successful, so they can just do what they did back in the Heisei era, and they start with Biollante, and then the one after that, like in 2030, is fucking Space Godzilla because from those films, he kills Biollante and her spores go up into space, and then oh shit, got Space Godzilla's like, "What's up, motherfucker?"
yeah. Those 90 ones, those 90s movies for Godzilla are like so freaking interesting. They're like, yeah, they're like really well done, but it's crazy. They had like the wildest ideas. Like, let's have a Godzilla, but it's like a mutant space version. And like that's crazy. They took like the biggest bong hit, I think, and we're like coming up with crazy wild ideas, which I do love. But yeah,
I think go to space. Yeah, just in general, just go to space.
Yeah.
Now is the
Yeah.
time that the series has gone on long enough, and it's also proved that it can be silly and have fun. So like, there's no reason to not go into space. Oh, I'm also getting like a bit sick of Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
So
After
let's
two
go out.
entries,
Yeah.
Yeah. And the show too. The show.
Yeah.
Yeah, uses Hollow Earth. But yeah, I guess I'm the last one. So kaijus that I want to see. Yeah, I'd go with Max Biollante. Give me Biollante, baby. Love her. I would love to see how Legendary interprets Gigan, because Gigan's like such a weird alien thing. I don't know like what he is. He's kind of
I
like
had somebody tell me he's essentially a space assassin.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
nobody knows like what he does and nobody controls him. So he's essentially, I'm like,
he's like a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he just comes down. He's like, "Fuck you, Kong."
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how to fucking fight this guy.
Yeah, he has like scythe for hands, like a buzz saw, and a chest. He shoots laser beams.
Yeah.
I love Gigan. Gigan's great. I'd love to see him. And yeah, obviously Destroya, the Doomsday of Monsters. But if we could have on like Godzilla's like homies, like with he's cool enough with Kong. They don't like each other, but they're with each other. And then his girlfriend Mothra, and I guess maybe Rodan. Rodan's just like bows down to
He's
him.
out there chilling.
He's just chilling. Well, we need to have Rodan back, but I would really love Godzilla's BFF, Anguirus. We do not get enough Anguirus love because I love Anguirus because he's just a short guy with a spiky back and a tail.
Short king.
Short king, yeah, he's a short king.
Short king.
And he doesn't take any shit. And like he stands up to Ghidorah. He goes like head to head with Ghidorah and like destroy all monsters. And he does not give a shit. He's like
fucking neck.
Yeah, he goes for his neck. He has like no qualms. He does not back down. He reminds me of Krillin from Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
And he's just like he just has like, you know, a lot of he has the riz. So like we need Anguirus, you know?
I think that's that reminds me though that like I'm one thing I really want from these films is that sense of character to them, which I think for people who aren't into these movies sounds ridiculous to talk about in terms of those terms, but like I like having that certain energy to a kaiju. Like maybe that is that the energy of sort of like punching up and being like really sort of aggressive, finding his ground without the obvious power to back it up. And I'd like to see more of that in general.
Yeah.
In -1, how Godzilla is just a horrible jerk.
Yeah, he's just an asshole. A lot of personality to him.
Just like seems like he really wants to screw over this one guy's life.
I don't even feel like he's a jerk. I really loved, and I don't mean to get to a tangent of -1, but I think about that scene towards the end when he's making landfall in Tokyo and they have to lure him back out into the ocean. And he's like, he's not even focused. He's just walking forward. And for me, like, I know like the joke is he is like, he's bullying he's bullying that kid, but like, he's not, he is elsewhere. And then he's like, he starts shooting me. He's like, oh, you motherfucker. All right, fine. He just,
yeah. It's just,
but
no, that's good too. But like, again, it's like, it's all part of like the same, like, I don't know, giving them something beyond just being like an empty vessel of like CGI moving around.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So hopefully we get more Toho legacy characters, but I guess we'll see in whatever they do next. So yeah, just kind of getting to the main discussion for our last topic. Godzilla X Kong. What did we think of this film?
I can't say I was a fan, if I'm honest.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Like I think like I think the movies have like, I wasn't a huge fan of I loved versus Kong, but like I think this one felt like it kind of went like full stupid in a way that I think like is like makes it like very watchable in some ways. I think like this is something like I wished I'd watched with like a group of friends at home or something, rather than like a cinema outing where I was by myself.
Yeah.
Because it felt like it was very like almost like targeted. It felt like more like I could see like kids having like a good time with this movie from that point of view, but then also like like stoners as well, like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's I think like it, you know what, the thing that I'm imagining when I saw this movie, I was imagining Homer Simpson and Bart watching it on TV, you know, like the kind of thing you wouldn't see what they're watching, but you just hear a couple of sounds from it. They're watching some monkey movie that they got from the, you know, the store. It felt like that kind of vibe. So it's like it's not like the ambitions were higher than that, really. But I think I felt like it felt a bit like lost for me. It felt like they were kind of trying to cobble something together and didn't have a very clear idea of what they wanted, or they weren't settled in on one idea enough. Like for instance, Scar King, and like that society. I'm like, we could have spent more time on this. This could have been like a more Kong, like I mean, it was very Kong focused, but like it could have been just a Kong movie.
It could have,
and get more of an idea of what was going on there and those relationships and make that feel a bit more satisfying. But they had these other elements again. Like I feel like it needed more or less in a way to like it needs to be more focused or throw more craziness into the mix. So I felt like a bit like disappointed with it, really, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no worries. That's like, that's, you know, I kind of was, I mean, I like the movie, but I do see that point of like it's like very like haphazardly kind of put together almost. And like that was Godzilla versus Kong. It was kind of like they edited a lot out of that movie. It's kind of like a Frankenstein of a movie. And maybe it shouldn't work, but it does. But with like Godzilla X Kong, it does feel like very haphazard because, as I guess, you know, spoilers, like what Max was saying, you know, Mothra wasn't originally in the movie. They reshot it and added her because it was a different kaiju. I knew some people that went to test screenings, and you know, they said the same thing. Could say more about that.
Explains that god awful thing. You know what? I'm gonna transition. because I didn't get to do my 5-minute rant on A for E. So
Oh,
now
sure.
you're getting it.
Yeah,
Junkie XL, you retire. No, I'm kidding.
yeah. Yeah, he made some interesting comments. Junkie, good, talented composer, but maybe he should
I
talk less.
disagree. He is not talented at
Oh, okay.
all.
Hot takes.
No. The Fury Road score is great.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a bit, but I'm also a bit serious. Like the comments he made were egregiously out of. They were stupid.
Yeah, I disagree with them.
Yeah, even someone I saw like just yesterday, somebody rescored the opening to Godzilla versus Kong to the one of the original themes, and I'm like, this sounds so good. Like, what are you doing? My If I'm honest, that's probably my biggest criticism of both films is I think in the score department it is just lacking. I like some of the synthwavy stuff, but his Godzilla theme sounds like the approximation of what somebody thinks a giant monster score is supposed to be. But in regards to the actual film, I liked it. I think I saw Diego's film and he's like, this is a cotton candy ass movie.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably the best description for it. I had fun with it. I'm not really going to think about it outside of that. And there are some fun, great moments. Kong, beating the shit out of the other apes with sumo was amazing. That was hilarious.
Amazing.
But like, I think also part of my consternation, I don't know if I necessarily care about Scar King, the villain. I think that was one of the questions you outlined as well.
Yeah.
I like the new characters, but I don't. Scar King. Scar King.
Tongue twister. Can we call him Skarsgård now?
Yeah. Scar King.
Scar King.
He's fine as a villain, but like I felt way more impact with somebody like King Ghidorah.
Ghidorah, yeah.
And that's also because of my history with the franchise. But Scar King just rolling up and he's like, he's Trump the Ape, and it's like, okay, that's nice, dear. But I had fun with it.
Yeah.
I will say, for better and for worse, I like the trimmed down cast. Yes. And I like that they approximate archetypes rather than full on lived in characters. If I'm honest, I think Jesus, I can't talk tonight. Kong Skull Island is the best film that approximates like good, fun, pulpy characters that you get enough of, and who still have evolving arcs.
Yeah.
That still really has like just fantastic character stuff in there. Not fantastic, but just fun. In this, I mean, Dan Stevens he's great. Between this and Abigail, like that man is just a fucking delight. Rebecca Hall is selling that exposition. You go, girl. You get that check.
She got that bag. She got the bag.
She got that bag.
She knew the assignment. She knows the type of movie she is in, and she's talented too. She's a great actress.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Yeah. But I also like that from a filmmaking, from a visual standpoint, Adam Wingard, regardless of how you feel about the quality of the movie, I really like that he takes the visual element seriously and he lets things slow down. And hey, we're gonna have like 10 minutes of just Kong. And like Kong emote, let you understand Kong, not through just word, not just through sign language, but through emotion. So he takes that time, and I really actually like that. And it kind of annoyed me because I wish they would also do the same with Godzilla. Instead of just every time you see Godzilla, he's just like pumping, he's getting gains, like I'm getting better, getting swole. I'm about to fuck somebody up. Let's go.
He's such a meathead in this movie.
I see you're sleeping here. Get the fuck out. This is my house now.
He takes like a nap in the middle of the Coliseum. Such a.
Yeah, I do think they do a really good job of like the facial expressions of Kong. They do a lot of storytelling through that, which I think like it was interesting seeing that and comparing that to like the exposition from the human characters, which is like very to the point. But like I do also wish there was more going on with Godzilla.
Yes.
Because he really is. Yeah, he does his. I mean, I was gonna make a joke about it's like doing the Rocky training montage, but it's not even really that. It's like he goes to get his gun basically, and he comes back at the end of the movie.
Turns purple.
Yeah. a lot of the plot things are like very much just in the trailer, and I remember seeing the trailer and being like, I think they're holding something back.
Mm-hmm.
But what they were holding back seems to be it's mostly Mothra and uh what was the called the
Shima,
ice Shimu
Oh,
Shimu
Shimu.
Shimu,
Yeah.
right
Shimu, yeah.
yeah but yeah, it's very much just like Godzilla getting ready for a fight, and then Kong is exploring and
Yeah.
finding stuff out, and uh I think that's actually like what engaged me the most was Kong himself like going through trials, just because I think they sold like they just got the facial expressions down of just like selling like him going through like pain or like confusion or discovery, and like they really sold that part of it. So I was really down for that, and then it go back to Godzilla, and it's just like someone in the submarine with one line of just saying like, "Oh, he's over here now to get this thing," and they're like, "Okay, back to Kong for 20 minutes."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It felt
and
like, yeah, sorry.
and when he came back, I started like, I guess like once he was on screen with Kong, it was a bit more like a bit more interesting. But even still, it's like I didn't really get a sense of like what um I didn't really get a sense of Godzilla's purpose beyond what was we were told. Like, okay, he knows something's up, and he's gonna get charged and take it down, and he's gonna punch anyone in his way.
Yeah.
But that's like kind of like it. I didn't really get a sense of character to him.
No,
I
yeah.
do like that
Mhm.
between Kong and Scar King, both have their own respective PTSD from Godzilla. With
Yeah.
Kong, it's obvious because when he's in Egypt and he sees Godzilla, he's like, "Bro, wait, bro, hold on." He's like, "I'm
Not
gonna
again.
fuck you up. What did I tell you?" And then Scar King, I don't think it's a blink and you'll miss it moment, but when they're in Rio de Janeiro, the final fight, there is a moment where like Scar King looks at Godzilla and he's just like, you can see fear, and he's like, "Oh shit, not this
Yeah.
guy again."
No, you fucking, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
do think at least the monster's reactions to him are very much rooted in like, this is the G, this is the OG. I
Mm,
Yeah.
cannot fuck with him. He
King of
will
Monsters.
fuck me up.
Where's the
yeah.
crown? King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
Wears it well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wish you kind of got more Godzilla. Maybe not like you got more Godzilla, but like the way they used him
Mm.
was like more effective because yeah, like kind of what you're saying, Max or Jack, he just kind of does like a training montage or whatever. But like I just wish Godzilla just didn't feel as like they added him in like reshoots,
Yeah.
where he's just kind of like to the plot, he's very like secondary. If they could have, if he felt very like shoehorned in, and I get
Mhm.
it, like these movies want to make money, and it's like you need Godzilla. It's like he's a name brand, but I'm like, you could do it a little bit better, or if you had another draft of the script or whatever. But yeah, like I thought for what it was it was good. Yeah, how they used him. I'm always glad to see Godzilla. He's my favorite movie monster. So,
Mhm.
I can't complain like, oh, I gotta see Godzilla again.
Yeah, it does feel
And
like a weird thing because I think on the one hand, I really want to say how I think what I don't like is that there are elements of Godzilla in this that I think are good, but if you completely take him out, the movie doesn't really change that much. You can do the same sort of the same plot and the same like even the same set pieces. Really, you just take Godzilla out, and it could have just been a more focused Kong movie. And I think maybe that like that would have made maybe the next movie with Godzilla returning in that would have like hit harder.
Mhm.
But at the same time, if I was watching this and it was just a Kong movie with the same plot, I
Yeah.
might be thinking like, "Where's Godzilla?"
Yeah, exactly.
Like like
It's like,
yeah,
yeah, what's the Simpsons line where it's like when he's not off screen, everyone's asking where he
yeah,
is for
exactly.
Poochie. Was it for Poochie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, yeah.
Like, where's Poochie? Favorite gag. Poochie died on the way to his home planet.
I like to think of it as Godzilla is now an Oscar winner. And
Yeah.
so when he found out he was going to be a new movie, he's like, you know what? I've
Mhm.
just stretched my legs a bit. I'm going to chill here and Kong, I'm gonna let you just like you can do some of the work. I'm gonna boost you up a little bit, but I'm not really gonna do much. I'm just gonna sell my name on the board.
Yeah, it's like in the credits, it will say "and Godzilla" at the end. You know, gets the "and."
Yeah, he's a, he was like, I could do like 2 or 3 days on set. Let's shoot all my scenes all at once. It was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
ego on Godzilla in this
Yeah,
movie.
it kind of is. I
He's
mean,
a fucking diva.
yeah, he won an Oscar. He kind of deserves it, you know? He deserves it.
I mean, it is kind of like the Dwayne Johnson Vin Diesel thing of like neither of them can really lose the fight entirely.
Yeah.
You know, they got to have like little victories at different points.
Yeah. Who's
I
Vin
mean, they
Diesel?
do establish that Godzilla is like he will whoop he is the king. I mean, when he fights Kong again, and this very briefly, he is about to once again kill him, and the only reason he stops is Mothra's like, "Yo, chill." He's helping out, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna let you go."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But no, I definitely feel that. I do think Mike Scott over at A3, he had a great he said essentially like Godzilla is like Excalibur and everyone has to like live up to him or wield him, so to speak. And I can see that reading because it is like once Mothra comes to the picture to tell him, hey, Kong's here to help, then he's like, okay, fine, I guess you're cool. Let's go fuck shit up, together.
Yeah.
But I again I also agree that like I do wish he had a bit more to do because this is kind of twice now in 2 films. Godzilla's sort of just like bullying someone and everyone's like, oh, he must be bad, and it's like, no, he's right. He's just doing it in his own way. Because like in the first film, he's blowing up Apex, and it's like, oh, he's attacking people. We don't know why. It's like, no, he just wants to kill King Ghidorah before King Ghidorah wakes up again.
Yeah.
And then in this, he's blowing up shit. He's like, I'm getting ready for the big fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to Adam Winker's credit, he did say the next film he wants it to be more Kong focused because he's a Kong focused, Godzilla focused.
Yeah,
because he said he feels like these last 2 films he's gotten Kong's story, and so I'm hopeful that if there is a next film and he's helming it, that it is going to be much more Godzilla. Which again leads me to believe that if it is going to be a Godzilla story with Destroyer, he's definitely killing Godzilla at the end of that.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna be. I hope it's not like a BVS thing. No, it's like save Mothra. All the Reddit posts you've seen. I guess that kind of leads us to our last little talking point, but because this is like supposed to be a trilogy, like Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla X Kong, and then whatever the next one's called. But like, what direction do you think the final installment is going to be? Do you think it's going to just have Destroya kind of like end this trilogy, or because it's like I think if they have a TV show called Monarch, they kind of long-term plans because that already got season 2. Like they're going to keep doing MonsterVerse movies, so this will be an end of the trilogy, but they'll have to keep going for yeah.
I think if you had asked me at the end of Godzilla versus Kong what they were going to do, I would have assumed they were just going to do another Kong solo film, and so that way they don't have to worry about buying the rights to Godzilla or what have you. So because I think this was rumored to be in development for a while, and then they officially announced it. I was like, oh, they actually are shooting this.
Yeah.
And so I was actually surprised that they were doing a sequel, a flat out Godzilla and Kong sequel. I just thought it was going to be maybe like, hey, let's just do Kong,
Yeah.
But I think for me, whatever the next film is, I think part of me wants to maybe go back to just let's get another Godzilla film, like just straight Godzilla. But in terms of a tone or direction, I'm also kind of happy if the next one, if they do kill him, if they more or less do their version of Destroyer, Godzilla Kong, they fight Destroyer, Godzilla dies at the very end, new Godzilla is born.
Yeah.
I would be fine with that. And also like I'm cool if they do that and then that's it, they're done, which obviously it won't be they're done.
Yeah.
But if they did it and they were like, this is it, we're done, I'd be like, cool, I'm happy with that. But I'd also be happy if they kept going. But for me, definitely they've already said they want to go and be more Godzilla focused. I'd be fine with that. I'd be also really happy if they shoot for something a bit darker as well, just a bit of a darker toned movie. But I don't know how you do that because the human cast they have anyway isn't. I don't know if they're as suited for something as dark. But I'll be there. You know what? I'll be there.
Yeah. Jack, what do you want to see in like potentially the end of this like trilogy here?
I think what Max said is a great idea, really. Because I think what I would definitely want more in the next film is this like a heightened sense of threat.
Mm-hmm.
Because here there's like a lot of uh there's a lot of destruction. Like Rio is gone. So, like goodbye Rio is just decimated. But like there's not like I didn't necessarily feel like I didn't have that sense that this was like an escalation or that this was like a threat worthy of Godzilla like going to charge up for. And I think something that like makes it feel more like Godzilla is like tested or like you know like at least could die, if not like actually dying. um something along those lines would work really well. But so I think a darker tone, yeah, like could work in that way. And maybe something a bit more like stripped back, a bit more like of the traditional like kaiju versus kaiju kind of setup, without having like loads of elements in play,
Yeah,
like this, or like an army of Kongs, for instance.
yeah, it'd be like Avengers Endgame of monster race, and
Yeah.
then they'll keep going, and then people like that's where it ended. Yeah. Yeah, no, that you guys both had good thoughts on like where it should go. Because yeah, I would just maybe for the next one, not to say like I don't enjoy the tone of these films, but maybe like the next one could be like more serious, more dark. Kind of get back maybe to the Gareth Edwards sort
Mm,
of like scale, stuff like that. I guess bringing it way back to the beginning of the conversation.
yeah.
But
Bring
yeah,
back the damn original theme, please.
yeah, bring back dun
Please.
with it. It's one of my favorite movie themes. Like everyone knows when you see Godzilla, you hear that dun 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 dun
Hmm.
dun dun dun, which everyone associates with it, even though it's not his theme in the original movie. It's the Tokyo Army's theme. But anyway, beside the point. Beside the point. But yeah, if we could just get back to that, or just kind of like stuff that we haven't seen for a while, because just kind of ending a story and then a new one starting. But yeah, I would love Godzilla Jr. or Minya or whatever you call him. Got a little Godzilla, that'd be cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I want it to be both. I forgot that Simpsons joke, sorry. whenever I'm on here, I just do the Simpsons, but it's like you want it to be both serious and wacky. And when the kids are doing the test talking
Swarming with magic robots.
with magic robots, yeah. So I want
I
the
feel
impossible.
like what they could end up doing is also how they could factor in something like Monster Island. Is they have Space Godzilla destroyed by Atlantic, whomever.
Yeah.
You have them blow up the Hollow Earth,
Mm.
and
Mm.
basically like Monster Island is sort of created out of that, and so it's sort of like a refugee island for all the
Mm.
other monsters. And
Yeah.
then that's how you kind of establish the threat of whatever the next villain is like. Oh well, I'm
Mm.
so badass, I fucking blew up the Hollow Earth, and it's
Yeah.
like, and so that's kind of like this is where all the monsters like converge to live at because the Hollow Earth is no more. Um, yeah, that's kind of what I feel like they could do just to set up like something like that happening. And essentially, whatever this monster is, it kills all of Kong's apes except for like Sumo and Shimo,
Yeah.
or maybe
Mm.
Shimo dies in the process, and
Yeah.
Kong and Sumo escape, and like Hollow Earth just gets like destroyed. Which
Yeah.
again, that could fit with something like Biollante, where if they remix her origins a bit, because I mean, honestly, you could probably do both Biollante and Destroy. I don't. I can see a version of that because both are technically created by science.
Mhm.
Um, so, yeah, I feel like it's possible, but I feel like if you want to establish a threat, you have them blow up the Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Then you spent the last two movies worrying about it's no more. Now all the monsters are on Monster Island.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's that's a
Yeah.
great idea. I think
That's a
that would work really well.
that.
Adam Wingard, hire me.
Yeah, I was like, that's so good. Maybe we should all pitch stuff to Toho, right? Or not Toho, Legendary right now.
What did you guys think of Suko, by the way? And do you
Oh,
think they'll bring him back, or it would just be for this?
Sumo, the
S- the
Suko,
the
the baby Kong,
mini Kong, yeah,
oh
Diddy
Sumo,
Kong.
yeah.
Diddy Kong. Yeah,
Diddy
they're like
Kong.
Donkey and Diddy Kong. They are. They are. Someone was saying that actually. I love Suko. Suko is cute. Like it's these are movies like you need like stuff like that, and like to appeal to kids, and like there's nothing wrong with that. Like there had to be like there had to be monsters that are like kids, or babies. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I liked him just fine. I mean, he gets the funniest bit in the film. So
Yeah, he's so cute.
yeah, he's a little shit, and he
Yeah.
gets beaten up like a little shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Fuck
was
them
really
kids.
surprised by that. I really enjoyed that he was very aggressive, and then also like was used as a weapon to
Yeah.
fight other
Yeah, when he just
other
gets them and
apes.
just like that was amazing. Yeah, Suko is good. They were like Baby Yoda, Baby
Mhm.
Kong.
Yeah,
Some
yeah. So, someone wrote that on the whiteboard at some point. Yeah.
yeah.
Baby Kong equals money.
Money, yeah. And then they'll put like Baby Kong's $.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the next one.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I guess just kind of like wrapping up, because I feel like I could talk to you guys for like another hour, but like we do have to like wrap up. But yeah, any final thoughts on the movie before we do plugs and everything?
I like I said, I had a fun time with it. I appreciate them leaning to the silly. I mean, we didn't even touch on the fact that they found an underground psychic civilization of
Oh yeah.
people, and like that was sort of, if it was already leading Showa, that was like, okay, this is literally a Showa movie. And it's silly. Is it gonna make my top end of the year list? Probably not, but in terms of a beers and burger movie, this
Yeah.
gets like 3.5 beers.
3.5 beers.
3.5 beers and a
shower
solid
beers.
burger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with the beer and burgers thing, but maybe like a case of beers.
Oh, we
in
had a
my
case.
case.
A case of beers and then like a joint. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Get you a greasy burger and a case of beers.
Yeah, I could see myself seeing this again in a more inebriated state.
Yeah.
But there are, and this conversation did bring up some like positives to it that I hadn't really been thinking about. So I would be interested to watch it again. Probably before next one, I'll rewatch like all the MonsterVerse stuff again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think like it's probably my least favorite of them so far. And it isn't like a solid recommend for me or anything like that. But yeah, it's got some stuff going on for it, and it's definitely like a certain tone of movie that like you need sometimes, just to very like I don't like using the phrase like turn your brain off, but it's not very demanding.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a quick, because that's the other thing too, is between these two movies, they're very brisk. Now, Godzilla versus Kong was like edited down, and you can really feel and see that. But this, I think they got everything they wanted from page to screen, and so they're also very short. So if you're looking for like a good, like almost 2 hours, like there's worse ways to spend it. Like you can go see Madam Web. I'm sorry.
He was on Jack was on the Madam Web.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, he did see it. I'm sorry, Jack. I put you through that. But...
Did you like this more than Madam Web?
Oh, I mean, this is better than Madam Web, but I had a better time watching Madam Web.
that makes sense.
I don't think like I'm reflective of the human race with that. That's it's very. I mean, I don't know. I've got weird. I love a trash fire. And this isn't a trash fire.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought this was good. Solid entry in the MonsterVerse movie universe. Like there's like way worse movies out there like Madam Web. So like as long as people enjoy it and like I guess it makes money. Yeah. Who's to like say like as long as we're getting like good or good enough MonsterVerse movies. But yeah, everything doesn't have to be like a home run. So yeah, it was good. It was like fine, but some stuff to critique. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that kind of like wraps us up here. Kind of like plugs, promotions, anyone. Where can people find you at? Max, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. You can find me on Twitter. A variation of my name, ODST Spartan, exists on most social media platforms. You can find me on Twitter, Reddit, Discord. I run the A4E Discord, and I also help with the Waffle Press Discord server as well.
Hey.
You can typically find me on the A4E Discord and producing, editing their podcast. We are currently taking a break just to figure out some behind the scenes stuff and how we're going to go forward. So we will be back very soon. We're just we're doing more than we've ever done, but we need to first like rearrange some things. I do believe Liam and Brandon Streisnig, I apologize, Brandon, if you listen to this, and we will be doing another Wrestling for Everyone episode, probably very here soon in the future. Nice. But yeah, you can usually find me around there. And yeah.
Cool.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, also have a coming back soon podcast. My podcast, That 90s Spider-Man Show, where we talk about Spider-Man the animated series, episode by episode, and comics, the comic background as well. That will be coming back soon. And also, speaking of comics, I have a account No Context Spider-Man, which you can find on Twitter and Blue Sky and Instagram. We're just posting out of context panels that I find funny. And then also like I'm also on Blue Sky. I'm one of the few people on Blue Sky. And jalexg is my username on that, I think. But yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Well, yeah, please follow you there, because yeah, the no context stuff is really funny. I was just gonna add, I love all the things. It's always good to see that. But yeah, definitely follow that. Yeah, you could follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I just post funny, dumb stuff. I don't know. And you can follow the Waffle Press on Twitter at the Waffle Press, on Instagram at the Waffle Press Podcast. We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud. Please like, share, subscribe. If there's something you like, give it a like anyway. Something you don't like, watch it anyway. It's fun. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We've been professionally unprofessional. This was really fun. Thanks, guys. Thanks. And bye.
Bye.